高兴能够在这边跟大家一起来学习。
Hallelujah, in the name of the Lord Jesus, I'm very glad to be here to learn together with you.
也感谢神，我们在这里一起来敬拜，借着这个读圣经来敬拜神。
And we are very thankful that through the study of the Bible, we can worship God together.
这是一个很快乐的时候。
This is a very joyful moment.
那我们今天要来，从今天开始要来看看摩西的故事。
Starting today, we would like to look at the story of Moses.
那我们特别来看摩西在受召的时候，他一个很困窘，就是遇到没有办法解决，让他问神。
In particular, we will look at the time when Moses was called by God, how he asked God some perplexing questions.
神呼召他。
God called Moses.
然后这时候其实他是很辛苦的一个时候了。
At this point in time, Moses was undergoing hardship.
那他就问神了。
So Moses asked the Lord.
我们先来看经节哈，我们今天晚上要谈的出埃及记第3章。
Let's look at the passage that we will focus on tonight, Exodus chapter 3.
那第7节哈。第3章7节以下是神跟他讲他的神的心愿。
Exodus chapter 3, starting from verse 7, the Bible records God's intention, which He revealed to Moses.
那最后呢，第10节哈。
Let's look at verse 10.
出埃及记3章10节。
Exodus chapter 3, verse 10.
故此，我要打发你去见法老。使你可以将我的百姓以色列人从埃及领出来。
Come now, therefore, and I will send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt.
神的工作一定借着人来做。
God's work is done through the hands of men.
当然，神其实没有人神也可以做了。
In fact, God could do everything himself without man's help.
像创造天地，神不用人来帮忙了。
For example, when God created the heavens and the earth, He did not need anyone's help.
也没有人帮得上忙。
And no one could possibly help God with such a task.
但是从创世之后，神的一些工作就要让人跟他一起得荣耀，要让人来享受他的荣耀，所以常常叫人一起来工作。
But ever since God created the heavens and the earth, He wanted man to share in His glory by involving them in His work.
所以这时候神就差遣摩西。
At this time, God called Moses.
要将我的百姓，是神的百姓，把他们领出来。
God wanted to send him to bring His people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt.
这是一个很特殊的时候。
This was a unique moment.
摩西第一次跟神交会就在这个时候。
This was Moses' first personal encounter with God.
其实神已经等了很久了。
Actually, God had been waiting for a long time.
神这个信息已经讲了好久了。
This message of God has been spoken for a long time.
当然，我们不要从神的永恒来讲了哈，在创世之前，神就已经计划好了。
Even before the foundation of the world, God's plan had already been set in place.
但是从人的角度来看
But from man's perspective,
那个创世纪15章哈，
let's look at Genesis chapter 15.
在亚伯拉罕的时候，
Even during the life of Abraham,
神就已经跟亚伯拉罕讲了。
God had already told Abraham.
这个时候亚伯拉罕连一个小孩都没有。
At this time, Abraham had not even had his first son.
神就跟亚伯兰讲了，
And God told Abraham,
说你会死在这里。
you will die in this place.
15节人家把你埋葬。
Chapter 15, verse 15, you will be buried at a good old age.
16节
16.
到了第4代，他们必回到这个地方来。
But in the 4th generation, they shall return here.
那个第13节哈，
Verse 13.
神说：“你的后裔必寄居别人的地，又服侍那地的民， 那地的人要苦待他们400年。
Your descendants will be strangers in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them, and they will afflict them 400 years.
这个是一个历史的事件。
This was a historical event.
自从亚伯兰之后，
Ever since the time of Abraham,
他们的子孙一定会记住这个数字的。
the children of Israel must undergo this number.
我们也知道嘛，圣经开始是用口传的嘛。
We know that the Bible began as oral traditions.
我们不知道是不是亚伯兰会写字就是了。
We do not know for a fact whether Abraham was able to make literary records.
但是我们知道的。
But we know one thing for sure.
神说他要把神的律例典章，就是这个神叫他做的事情传给他的后代。
And that is God instructed Abraham to pass onto his succeeding generations the laws and commandments of God.
神说：“我眷顾亚伯兰是要叫他吩咐他的众子，用吩咐的，所以是口传的。”
God said, I have instructed Abraham to pass on verbally the commandments and laws of God.
他们一代传过一代啊。
So the commandments of God must be passed on from one generation to the next.
所以诗篇那个78篇说：“我老了，但是我要把神的奇妙作为告诉我的下一代。”当时是用口传的。
Therefore, in Psalm 78, the psalmist writes that even in his old age, he will declare with his mouth the works of the Lord.
照神的计划，一切都应验了。
And according to God's plan, everything came true.
从亚伯兰一直到摩西时代，也差不多快400年了。
And from the time of Abraham to the time of Moses, it was about 400 years.
这时候神来了，
And the Lord came.
来呼召摩西。
When the time came, the Lord appeared to Moses and called him.
讲说你要把我的百姓从埃及把它领出来。
And God said, I am sending you to bring my people out of Egypt.
第11节。
Exodus 3 verse
出埃及记
11.
3章11节。
Exodus chapter 3 verse 11.
摩西就对神说了
But Moses said to God,
我是什么人？
Who am I?
这个他问的第一个问题。
This was Moses' first question to God.
他说我是谁呢？
Who am I?
能够去见法老，将以色列人从埃及领出来呢？
That I should go to Pharaoh, that I should bring the children of Israel out of Egypt.
如果我们从圣经看，这时候摩西实在是很悲惨的一个人。
If we look at what the Bible records, we know that Moses at this time was miserable.
我是什么人？
Who am I?
这是我们常常忘记自己的。
And this is something we often forget about ourselves.
摩西这时候神呼召他，第一个问的问题是：我是谁？
When Moses was called by God, his first question to God was, Who am I?
这个当然是用现在式来讲的了哈。
And this is spoken in the present tense.
英雄不提当年勇啊！以前他很厉害，先不要讲。
There's a saying that goes, heroes don't recount their past victories.
他小时候很幸运哦。
Moses had a very fortunate childhood.
他生下来就是在利未家族，他是利未人。
He was born into a family of the Levites. He grew up as a Levite.
但是当时的利未人还没有被选成为利未族啦，还没有，以后才被选出来。但是神老早已经预备好了。
But this was before the time when God formally ordained the tribe of Levi to serve him. But at this time, even before this time, God had already made preparations.
他是在最困难的、最黑暗的时代里面，或是最悲惨的时代，也过着最幸运的一种生活。
Moses was born in the darkest and most miserable time, yet he was also the most fortunate.
当时小孩都要死的，
Because at that time, all the infants must die.
但是他的妈妈跟他的爸爸妈妈勇敢又智慧，加上他的姐姐，所以不但没有死，还在王宫长大。
But through the wisdom and courage of his parents, as well as the guiding care of his older sister, Moses was saved and was brought up in the palace of the king.
有谁比他更幸运呢？
Who would be more fortunate than Moses?
但是他长大之后，
But after Moses grew up,
40岁，他没有忘记他是以色列人。
when he was 40 years old, he did not forget his identity as an Israelite.
圣经说他长大了。
The Bible tells us Moses grew up.
第2章第11节哈。
Chapter 2, verse 11.
后来摩西长大了。
Now it came to pass
2章11节，
in those days when Moses was grown,
他去见他出去到他弟兄那里，
that he went out to his brethren.
他出去了，
He went out.
离开了王宫，
He left the palace.
他要见他的弟兄，
He went out to see
看
to his
他们的
brethren
重担。
and looked at their burdens.
所以他是牺牲自己的享受。
Therefore, Moses sacrificed his own enjoyment.
第一天出去，成果很不错。
The first day he went out, he was quite successful.
他看见一个埃及人在打希伯来人的一个弟兄，
He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his brethren.
他也不是傻傻的。你看12节哈，
Verse 12, we can tell Moses was not stupid.
他左右观看，
He looked this way and that way.
然后呢，看见没有人，
And when he saw no one,
就把埃及人打死了，
he killed the Egyptian
藏在沙土里。
and hid him in the sand.
但是第2天他又出来了，第13节哈。
And verse 13, he went out again the second day.
第2天他出去了，
He went out the second day.
他是2次出去啊。
We can see that he went out twice.
第1天出去，
He went out the first day,
第2天又出去，
and he went out again the second day.
他是有心人哦。
So he was very motivated.
从第1天我们看到他做事也是蛮谨慎的。
And from what he did on the first day, we know that he was a very a prudent man.
第2天他看到是2个希伯来人在争斗。
Now on the second day, he saw 2 Hebrew men fighting.
他想来排解啊，他说：“为什么打你的同族的人呢？”
He tried to be the peacemaker and said to one of them, "Why are you striking your companion?"
但是那个人呢，不相信他，
But the man did not believe in Moses,
并且讲刺激的话。
and he said words to provoke Moses.
谁立你做我们的首领呢？
He said to Moses, "Who made you a prince and a judge over
你
us?
自己不要那么自大了，
Don't think too highly of yourself.
你把自己当成审判官啊，
Do you think that you are a judge?
你不要那么自高啊。
Don't be so proud.
那并且呢，难道你要杀我吗？像杀那个埃及人吗？
Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?"
他被自己同族人出卖了。
He was betrayed by his own brethren.
他看左右没有人，应该是看说没有敌人啊，没有埃及人。
When Moses looked this way and that way, he was making sure that there were no other Egyptians around.
被自己要救的人给出卖了。
But now he was betrayed by the people he was trying to save.
这个摩西便惧怕。接下来
And it says so Moses feared
他说：“这事必是被人知道了。
and said, "Surely this thing is known."
不但知道，还报告到法老那里去。
Not only was it known, it was reported to Pharaoh.
这时候圣经说第15节哈，
The Bible tells us in verse 15,
法老要杀他，
Pharaoh sought to kill Moses,
摩西就逃避法老，
and Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh
逃往米甸去。
and dwelt in the land of Midian.
他这时候一边跑，如果你是摩西，你的心情是怎么样？
If you were Moses, how would you feel as you run for your life?
他这时候他可能没有想到他的爸爸妈妈，也没有想到他可爱的姐姐。
At this moment, he probably was not thinking of his parents or his older sister.
这整个的世界对他来讲已经没有什么意思了。
Because what had happened before probably meant nothing to him at this time.
你看，他为了救他的同族，
His intention was to save his own countrymen,
被他的同族卖掉。
but then he was betrayed by them.
法老是这个时候算是变成他的敌人了。
At this time, Pharaoh became his enemy.
这是他养母的爸爸，是他一般应该叫他祖父才对啊。
Pharaoh was the father of the adopted mother of Moses. So essentially, Pharaoh was like Moses' grandfather.
自己的应该说养他的养母的爸爸，就是他的祖父啊，要杀他。
At this time, however, his Pharaoh, who was like his grandfather, sought to kill him.
他已经很难过了。
Moses must have been devastated.
那个使徒行传说，他认为别人应该了解是神派他来的。
According to Acts, Moses reckoned that people would understand that he was being sent by God.
使徒行传7章哈。
In Acts chapter 7,
25节
verse 25,
他以为弟兄必明白神是借着他的手搭救他们。
he supposed that his brethren would have understood that God would deliver them by his hand.
他们却不明白。
But they did not understand.
不但不明白，
Not only did they not understand,
你就不讲话就好了。你不明白不讲就可以了。
they could have kept quiet even if they didn't understand.
不但不明白，还讲风凉话。
But not only did his people not understand, they spoke words, harsh words.
不但讲风凉话，还出卖他。
They spoke very discouraging words, and not only that, they betrayed him.
好了，他要想帮助的人出卖了。
Now he had been betrayed by the people he tried to help.
欺负这个族的这个法老王要杀他。
And Pharaoh, the one who had been oppressing Moses' people, also sought to kill him.
这时候他要站哪边呢？
Which side should Moses stand on?
他本来是站以色列百姓这边的。
At first, he chose to stand on the side of the Hebrews, the Israelites.
这边不认同，还要出卖。
But his people did not identify themselves with Moses. On the other hand, they betrayed him.
法老本来就是他想离开的，他离开了法老的王宫嘛，对不对？
Moses had left Pharaoh's palace,
他现在回不去，
and now he could not go back anymore.
两边不是人啊。
He could not survive on either side,
神也不讲话。
and the Lord remained silent.
这时候如果神讲一句话，就稍微讲一下，跟那个出卖那个说：“你给我小心哦，他是真的要救你们的，你怎么可以卖他？是我立他为判官的啦。”
At this moment, had the Lord said something like, "You be careful. He is the one I've chosen. How can you do such a thing to him?"
他以为神派他去，
Moses supposed that God sent him,
但是没有啊，神也不讲话，
but at that time, the Lord remained silent.
三方面都不是人啊。
So Moses could not survive in any one of the three camps.
对上神没讲话，
As far as God was concerned, God was silent.
所以有人说有一种动物啊，照镜子里面都不是人啊。
There's a Chinese saying that an animal, no matter what kind of mirror the animal looks at, it is not a human being.
真是说他一边跑一边心都绝望了。
And this is descriptive of Moses' situation. He was probably in total despair.
好了，他就来到了井旁了。
Moses came to a well.
我们又回到我们的出埃及记
Let's come back to Exodus.
2章15节，最后说逃往米甸地居住。
Chapter 2, verse 15 tells us he dwelt in the land of Midian.
住在哪里了？
He settled down.
从现在开始，他跟家里也断绝关系了。 就是说没有再联络了，也没有再回去。
He was cut off from any relationship with his family. He could no longer return to his home.
他到了这个地方，人家以为他是谁？
And when he came to this place, whom did people think he was?
人家以为他是埃及人啊。
People thought that he was an Egyptian.
因为他去帮忙的时候，那个米甸祭司的女儿回去报告说：“哦，今天有一个人帮助我们。”
Because after he had helped the daughters of the Midianite priest, these daughters went back to report to their father that someone helped them today.
2章19节。
Chapter 2, verse 19.
他爸爸问说：“是谁呀？”
When the father asked his daughters, "Who was it that helped you?"
我们看19节哈。
Verse 19.
他们说有一个埃及人救我们脱离牧羊人的手。
And they said, "An Egyptian delivered us from the hand of the shepherds."
他在王宫长大的。
He grew up in the palace.
他讲的话也应该是埃及腔的，好像在这里长的小孩讲的英文是这里的英文吧。
He must have spoken with an Egyptian accent, just like how children who grew up in the States would speak with American accents.
如果你青春期之后来的，你再怎么学，再都听起来就是不对，就是。
Any immigrant who comes to the U.S. after adolescence would not be able to have that kind of accent.
这个学不来了。
It's not something you can acquire.
我去德国30几年了。
I've been in Germany for over 30 years.
因为我是大学毕业才去的，现在无论再怎么讲，也是一口标准的台湾德语啊。
I moved there after I finished college, so no matter how hard I try to speak perfect German, it still has a Taiwanese accent.
但是摩西呢？
What about Moses?
人家他一讲话，这是埃及人。
People could tell right away from his words that he was an Egyptian.
他的样子可能穿的也应该是埃及人的样子。
He also probably dressed like an Egyptian.
好了，他是埃及人。
So he was considered an Egyptian.
好了，人家他是一个人哦。
And he was by himself.
他就把他请去了，请去吃饭了。
And he was invited into this priest's family.
20节哦，你们去请他来吃饭。
Call him that he may eat bread.
21节。
Verse 21.
这个饭一吃，摩西心也软了。
After he ate the meal with them, Moses' heart was softened.
他一生在这里改变了。
At this point, his life was changed.
21节哈。
Verse 21.
摩西甘心和那人同住。
Then Moses was content to live with the man.
一住40年。
And once he started to live with them, he lived with them for 40 years.
在美国可能没有啦，在我小时候，我们在乡下还有这样的习惯。
This may not happen in the U.S., but in the countryside that I grew up in.
如果这个男的他家有时候兄弟很多，有时候是怎么讲，没有什么田地可以种啊，又没有什么，他就给人家遭罪啊，然后就去女的那边跟他们住啊，就嫁到也不能说嫁，男的嫁也很奇怪，就真是嫁到女方去。
Sometimes in a family that is not very well-to-do, if the family has a lot of sons and they are not able to sustain themselves, one of the sons or more than one of the sons would be married off to another family. So it's like the husband being married off to his wife.
摩西甘心跟那个人同住。
Moses was content to live with the man.
所谓的同住就是没有工钱的。
To live with someone means that you do not receive any wages.
你看雅各哈。
Look at Jacob.
雅各逃到他的舅舅拉班家。
Jacob fled to his uncle's the house of his uncle Laban.
那一到的时候也是跟他舅舅同住啊。
And after Jacob arrived, he lived with his uncle.
我们看一下哈，那个创世纪。
Let's look at Genesis.
29章。
Chapter 29.
29章 那个29章13节以下哈。
Genesis 29 verse 13.
他们相认之后，就把他接到家里来了。
After Jacob met Laban, Laban brought him home.
14节。
Verse 14.
过了一段时间之后呢，拉班就对雅各说了。
And after a while, Laban said to Jacob,
说你实在是我的骨肉了。
Surely you are my bone and my flesh.
那雅各就和他同住了1个月。
And he stayed with him for a month.
同住就是说，给你吃，给你穿，那不会付薪水了。
So to stay with someone means that you are provided for without getting any wages.
因为是亲戚嘛，来反正就没有说你去亲戚家帮他一些小忙，你还要跟他要薪水的，应该没有，他也不会给你，也不会要啊，就同住。
For example, when you go to your relative's home, you stay there as a guest, and when you help them, you don't expect to get any wages. And this was what Jacob was doing. He stayed with them.
我们看15节哦。
Let's read verse 15.
拉班对雅各说了。
Then Laban said to Jacob,
你虽是我的骨肉。
Because you are my relative.
上一节是说你实在是我的骨肉。
In the previous verse, he said, Surely you are my bone and my flesh.
你实在是我的骨肉，所以给你吃，给你住，免费。
Surely you are my bone and my flesh, therefore I let you stay here for free.
那你虽然是我的骨肉，
But now he says, Because you are my relative.
岂可以白白服侍我呢？
Should you therefore serve me for nothing?
也就是说，你这样跟我同住下去，1毛钱都没有啊。
In other words, if you continue to quote unquote stay with me, you will not get a cent.
他舅舅有时候蛮苛刻的，在这个时候应该还不算不错了。
The Laban was actually a very stingy man, but at this moment he was quite generous.
那他说：“请告诉我你要什么工价。”
And he said to Jacob, "Tell me, what should your wages be?"
好，所以同居是没有工价的哦。
So once again, to live with someone means that you live there without getting any wages.
如果继续下去的话，就是没有公家，那他可能就给你一个女儿，那你就是被他遭罪了。
And if this continues, the head of the house may give you his daughter, and at that time you are considered married into that family.
我们看出来几记第2章第21节。
Let's read Exodus chapter 2, verse 21.
摩西甘心和那个人同住。
That Moses was content to live with the man
没有工价的
without any pay.
那人就把他的女儿希波拉给摩西为妻啊。
And he gave Zipporah his daughter to Moses.
好，那希波拉就生了一个儿子。
And Zipporah gave birth to a son.
摩西就给他起名叫做葛顺。
Moses called his name Gershom.
因为我在外邦做了寄居的。
For he said, I have been a stranger in a foreign land.
这是外邦，又是寄居。
He was a stranger in a foreign land.
这是一个双重的失落。
This was complete being lost completely in a double sense.
你想这个孩子属于谁的？
Who do you think this son belonged to?
如果照遭罪法来讲的话，在当时是属于女的。
According to the customs of those times, if a man is married into a woman's family, their son would belong to the woman's family.
这个孩子不是摩西的。
In other words, Gershom would not be considered Moses' son.
因为摩西已经把自己放弃了。
Because Moses had practically given up on himself.
人家认为他是埃及人。
People thought that he was an Egyptian.
如果他是一个希伯来人的话。
Had he been reckoned as a Hebrew?
如果他还记得他是以色列人的话。
Had he remembered the fact that he was still an Israelite?
他绝对不会忘记。
He would not have forgotten.
我们看创世纪17章。
Let's read Genesis chapter 17.
如果我们从第1节到14节念完就知道。
If we go through verses 1 through 14, we will understand this.
我们念结果就好了哈。我
Let's
们
just
很
go
熟悉
straight
的。
to the conclusion because we're
13
familiar
节
with
，17章13节。
this passage. Let's just read chapter 17, verse 13.
你家里生的和你用银子买的， 都必须受割礼，这样我的约就立在你们的肉体上，做永远的约。但不受割礼男子，必从民中剪除，因为他背了我的约。这是从亚伯兰之后，神的选民一定会做的事情。
This was something that all of Abraham's descendants must perform.
小孩生下来，男孩子8天之后一定受割礼，一定的。
On the 8th day after a male child was born, he must be circumcised, and this was always done as a custom.
这不只是一个种族的一个记号。
And this sign was not just a sign for that race.
也是一个神跟这个民族立约的记号，也是个宗教的记号。
It was all the more a religious sign. In other words, it was a sign of God's covenant with them.
如果这个小孩没有受割礼，
If a child was not circumcised,
你可能就把他送给外邦，就不要了。
It is like giving this child away to another race.
如果这个小孩还是在民中，还在以色列人当中，
But as long as this child is among the community of the Israelites,
一定被打死，
he would have been stoned to death.
一定打死啊！
An uncircumcised
但是
child would be stoned
也
to death.
绝对没有说以色列家的人生了一个男孩不给他割礼的，这个是绝对没有的事情了。
And in reality, you would never find a Hebrew male child uncircumcised.
所以他们最后再分说神的百姓跟不是神的百姓，用割礼来讲啊，还记得吗？
Therefore, ultimately, circumcision or uncircumcision became the distinguishing sign that separated God's people from other peoples.
你看大卫在讲那个没有受割礼的，
For example, when
就是外邦人，就是不洁净的，怎么可以骂神的军队呢？对不对？
For example, David called Goliath that uncircumcised man. How can he challenge the armies of the living God?
摩西的小孩有没有受割礼？
Was Moses' son circumcised?
没有。
No, he wasn't.
神召了他，他要回去了，已经到半路，神要杀那个摩西啊，他的太太在跟他受割礼。
Later on, when Moses was on his way back to his people, God met them and wanted to kill Moses. And it was at that time that Moses' wife decided to circumcise their son.
这个理由很简单啊。
The reason was simple.
因为在旷野的40年当中，
Because during the 40 years in the wilderness,
他是把自己卖掉了。
Moses had sold himself.
他在跑的时候，我每次想到这里，他那个心已经是死掉了。
He fled for his life, and every time I think of Moses, I imagine that his heart must have died.
他的心好像灰一样。
His heart was as cold as ashes.
灰没有办法再把它燃烧起来。
It's the kind of ashes that you can never rekindle.
就说死的灰啊。
Ashes of death.
他把自己卖掉。
He had sold himself.
以色列人没有说男的就嫁给女的，然后嫁给女的还是一个外邦的祭司哦，你不要忘记他是祭司啊。
No Hebrew man would ever marry himself into another woman's family, let alone the family of a foreign priest.
当我们耶特罗后来有献那个决策哈，我们就对他印象很好，以为他是拜神的人啊。但是不要忘记他是米甸的祭司啊。
Of course, we have a good impression of Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, because in the Bible he gave Moses some good advice. But let's not forget that he was a priest of another race.
我们来看第3章第1节。
Let's read Exodus chapter 3, verse 1.
这时候40年过去了。
40 years had passed.
摩西牧养他岳父米甸祭司叶特罗的羊群。
Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian.
40年过去
40 years had passed.
摩西还是牧养他岳父的羊。
Moses, as usual, was tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro.
你可以说啊，他自己也有羊啊，只是没记载，那也没有关系啦。
You could argue that Moses had his own sheep; it's just not recorded. But so be it.
但是你跟雅各比较哈，你把这两个人比较一下。
But if you compare Moses and Jacob,
他们开始都是同居的，同住的。
They started out by living with under somebody else's roof.
但是雅各后来是独立的。
But Jacob later on became independent.
他是付工价的。
He began to receive wages.
他的太太是用比较粗的话来讲，是用7年的那个工价买来的。
He worked 7 years for each of his wives.
那摩西呢？
What about Moses?
是人家给的。
他
就乐意跟人家同居，人家就给一个太太。
He was content to live with his father-in-law, and he received a wife as a result.
不要忘记，小孩是真的没有受割礼哦。
Let's not forget that Moses' son was not circumcised.
你看到第4章的时候才割礼啊。
The circumcision did not occur until chapter 4.
是神救了摩西一命啊。
God spared Moses.
神要杀摩西，他太太才把他的小孩割礼。不是摩西割礼的。
It was when the Lord intended to kill Moses that Moses' wife finally gave in and let her child be circumcised.
你看4章24节。
Let's read chapter 4, verse 24.
神预见他要杀他，这时候神让那个希波拉一个选择了，你要儿子还是要献身？
The Lord sought to kill him, so the Lord made Zipporah make a choice. Do you want to keep your husband or your child?
他的太太是正确的。
And Moses' wife did the right thing.
东方人常常那个太太说，这个先生那么老了孩子比较小所以要孩子不要献身，这个不对的。
In Oriental families, a wife may have a typical mentality that I would sacrifice my husband to keep my child, but that's the wrong mentality.
我在英国那个有一次妇女讲习会我说眼睛闭着，你儿子跟你先生掉在水里，救一个救谁？几乎都是救儿子。我问说为什么？他说儿子可怜那么小他先生已经那么大了所以我说不对啊。
At a sister fellowship in the UK, I asked them a hypothetical question. Now, if both your husband and your child are drowning, who do you save? If you could only save one, and most of them said that they would save their child, and I told them that's wrong.
40年了。
40 years has passed.
摩西有没有在这个家庭讲话的机会？没有。
Did Moses have any say in this family? No.
其实这40年对摩西来讲，心已经灰掉了。
Moses' heart had become completely cold during the 40 years.
我们去非洲的时候，如果吃饭，一般都是那个家的先生跟我们一起吃。
When we go to Africa and when we eat with a family, it's usually the husband that eats with the guests.
这个跟我小时候一样。
This is similar to how I was brought up.
客人来了，妈妈煮完就是爸爸跟那个客人吃
When there are guests at home, the mother will finish cooking the meal and retreats to the back room, and it is the father, the husband, who eats with the guests.
那我跟妈妈我们不是我而已，我弟弟也是一样，我们就在厨房里面偷看嘛，看吃了多少
My siblings and I would hide ourselves in the kitchen and peek at the guests to see how much they're eating.
吃完了我们就很高兴冲出来了。
And as soon as the guests finish eating, we'll be so excited and rush out the kitchen.
因为平常没吃那么好嘛。
Because we usually don't get such good meals.
我有一次在非洲
One time I was in Africa.
我们一个工人我去他家。
I visited one of our church workers.
他是传道了，那我就跟他是儿子他妈妈跟我们一起坐在吃饭，当然我很高兴了
I went to his home, and this worker of the church was a son, and I was quite surprised, but also quite glad to see his mother coming out to eat with us.
他妈妈就拿一个盘子把东西装一装，给他爸爸，他爸爸就坐在那个门口啊，靠着那个门框吃起来。我说怎么不叫爸爸来这里吃？他说爸爸是嫁来的，所以不可以在桌上吃。哦，头都抱着发烧。
I saw the mother gave some food in a bowl to her husband, and the husband went to the doorway, sat by the doorway to eat by himself. And I said, "Why don't you get your father to come and eat with us?" And the worker replied, "My father was married into my mother's family," and I was very shocked.
对，因为这个房子、这个地都是妈妈的，就是妈妈这边传下来，因为没有儿子嘛，所以传给女儿啊。
Because
那女儿就娶一个先生啊，说先生就不能上桌啊，就坐门口啊。
Because his mother owned that house and that piece of property, and as an inheritance, and his father was married into this family, so he was inferior. He had to sit by the doorway to eat and not be able to eat at the table.
40年了。
40 years have
摩
passed.
西还是牧养他岳父的羊，
Moses was still tending his father-in-law's sheep.
神呼召他了，
And at that time, God called him.
最后他答应了，
And ultimately, Moses agreed.
因为最后神生气了。
But it wasn't until the Lord became angry at him.
我们看18节哈，4章18节。
Let's read Exodus chapter 4, verse 18.
好了，他要去埃及了。
He was on his way to Egypt.
这时候他讲的话，你会想说，怎么讲这种话？
You might wonder why Moses spoke like this.
于是摩西回到他岳父叶特罗那里，
So Moses went and returned to Jethro,
他
his
回去
father-in-law.
他岳父那里，
He returned to Jethro, his
他
father-in-law.
有没有家？
Did he have his home?
没有，
He did not even have a home of his
是
own.
他岳父的家，不要忘记哦，回到岳父那里。
Instead, he returned to Jethro, his father-in-law.
他下面讲的话，如果你是40年，这时候他80岁的人讲这种话，你不感觉很奇怪吗？
And remember that he was already 80 years old. And pay attention to what this 80-year-old man was saying.
你们在座的各位弟兄，就是已经结过婚了，你要去度假，你有没有每一次或是打电话跟你的岳父说，求你容我去度假？有没有这样说过？
Among the married brothers here, if you ever need to go on vacation, would you say what Moses said to his father-in-law? Let me go and have a vacation.
你看他怎么说的？
Let's see what Moses said
他跟
to
又说：“
to
求你
Jethro.
容我回去见我在埃及的弟兄，看他们还在不在。”
Please let me go and return to my brethren who are in Egypt and see whether they are still alive.
40年了，他不晓得他爸爸妈妈还活着还是死，他弟弟不，他的哥哥、他的姐姐
It's been
都不
40
知道，
years.
连一个 email 都没有，
been
没有
40，
那时候没有了哈。
It's been 40 years. He had no idea whether his parents and siblings were still alive. He did not even get an email.
他拜托让我回去看看。
Now he begged his father-in-law to let him go back.
古代的媳妇也不会这么惨呐、媳妇是
even
嫁进来要回娘家要通知一声哦。如果你要回娘家不跟那个什么，当时不跟那个婆婆报告一声你就走了，哇，那还得了啊！我是讲真的。
Moses was actually worse than the daughters-in-law in the olden days. In the olden days, when daughters-in-law needed to go back to her parents' home, the daughter-in-law must get permission first.
摩西有没有说我遇到神啊？神跟我说叫我回去救以色列百姓，没有，他不敢讲啊。
Moses
他
dare
是
not.
嫁过来的，不要忘记。
Moses dare not even tell his father-in-law that the Lord had appeared to him and that he must go back to Egypt. Let's not forget that he had been married into this woman's family.
他回埃及啊，总是要找个理由嘛。
But now that he had to go back to Egypt, he needed to find some excuse.
40年呐、都不晓得他的兄弟或是爸爸妈妈还死还活。
it's been 40 years already, so he did not know whether his family was still alive.
他敢不敢跟他的爸爸妈妈或是他姐姐们交通，就是打电话有没有沟通啊？不敢啊。
He dare not even have any
敢吗
contact or communication with his family.
为什么？
Why?
笑死人家啦！
People would have laughed at him.
再没有出息的人，也不会说以色列人不会把自己嫁了。
Even the most
是不是
useless Hebrew man would not marry himself into another woman's family.
你也可以想，摩西这时候是，我们说已经是很决心的了，我不再回去了，也不要跟这个种族有什么瓜葛了，我就是就这样子放逐了，一生就是这样过了。
We can say that Moses was already determined to have nothing to do with the Hebrews anymore, and he was ready to live permanently as an exile.
如果我们看他的情形，
If we consider the situation,
当然我们会想，40年天天看云，天天看星，天天看太阳，天天看月亮，就是羊咩，那神在训练他，我倒想不出有什么好训练的。
you may think that,
你自己想的太美了。
every day for 40 years, Moses looked up to the heavens, saw the stars, saw the sun and the moon, and enjoyed the sound of the sheep and so forth. You're not painting a realistic picture.
哇，神40年在旷野训练他。
For 40 years, you may say that God trained Moses in the wilderness.
可以了哈，40年是真的训练哦。
In fact, Moses was indeed trained during those 40 years.
但是40年呢，神一句话都没有讲。
But during these 40 years, God did not say a word to Moses.
摩西呢，是一个绝望的人。
Moses was in total despair.
你从他一只羊都没有，好了，你说他有藏着了哈，没有关系，他还是牧养他岳父的羊。
He did not have any sheep of his own, at least not from what we can tell, and he was tending his father-in-law's sheep.
最严重的是，这2个孩子没有受割礼。
And the most serious thing was that Moses' sons were not circumcised.
这2个孩子不是以色列人。
These 2 sons were not considered Israelites.
他如果带这2个孩子回去，其实回去之后，人家知道一定是打死。
If Moses had brought
一定
these,
剪除了，这个是从亚伯兰之后一代传一代的，也不可能说一个以色列人的小孩不割礼，这个是你没有办法想象的。
If Moses had brought these 2 uncircumcised children back to the Israelites, they would have been cut off or stoned to death, and no Hebrew would ever let their children go uncircumcised.
这2个孩子不是他的
And these 2 sons were actually not Moses.
摩西本身也不是他的
Did not belong to Moses. And Moses did not own himself
他是
either,
嫁给人的。
because he had married himself into another family.
古代这样这是不对的了哈，就是你媳妇嫁过来就是人家的东西那时候。
In the olden days, when a woman is married into another family, she would be considered that family's property.
那现在是摩西嫁到这个家来
And now Moses was the one who had married himself into this family.
所以摩西问我是谁？
So Moses asked the Lord, "Who am I?"
他这个时候是英文说他是什么都不是啊 ，I'm nobody， 是不是？有没有这样说？
At this point, Moses was really a nobody.
实在的，这个不是客气啊。
And this was the reality. It's not just a modest description of himself.
这是很困窘的事情。
Moses was perplexed.
他本身是以色列人，
He was a Hebrew.
曾经很有意识的说我是以色列人，
He had once been so sure that he was an Israelite.
但是现在呢，
But what about now?
他把自己放弃了。
He had completely given up on himself.
神要说你来来把以色列人带出来
And when the Lord said to him, "Come, I send you to deliver the Israelites."
所以他这个问对了。
Moses asked the correct question.
我是什么人？
Who am I?
我是被遭罪的人。
I'm someone who have been married into another family.
我这2个孩子没有受割礼。
I am someone with 2 uncircumcised sons.
我进到他们的，就进回去以色列，一定会被打死的。
If he went back
这可以很容易想象的。
the Israelites, the 2 sons would have been stoned to death.
这个应该是唯一的路了。
And this would have been the only outcome.
因为这2个孩子没有受割礼了，你看到最后不受割礼就是不洁净的，一定说这个是不洁净的。你要说他外邦人也不对啊，你说他以色列人不对啊，就打死了。
Any man who was uncircumcised would be unclean, and these 2 sons were neither Hebrew nor foreigners.
但是神这时候跟他讲，
But at this
第
point,
12节，
God said to Moses in verse 12.
神说：“我必与你同在。”
第
第3章
Chapter 3, verse 12. The
第
Lord,
12节，
chapter 3, verse 12. The Lord said, I will certainly be with you.
他是神同在的人。
He was someone whom the Lord was with.
然后接下来说，你要将百姓从埃及领出来之后，你必在这个山侍奉我，这就是我打发你去的证据了。
And the Lord said, And this shall be a sign to you that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God on this mountain.
神给他一个证据，
God gave him a sign,
神同在的证据。
a sign that God was with him.
这个证据以后才会应验了，现在还没有啊。
And this sign would only be fulfilled later, not now.
摩西相信吗？
Did Moses believe in the Lord?
他相信了，
He believed in the Lord
因为他不再讲什么了。
because he no longer negotiated with God.
所以，对我们来讲啊，
As far as we are concerned,
其实神选召我们，
God has called us.
在很久很久他已经决定了。
Long ago, God had already determined this calling.
这是我们的福气啊。
And this is indeed our blessing.
在之前之后我们不晓得。我常讲了，100年前你再好再想得救，时候没有到，真耶稣教会还没出来。
If we were born in the wrong time, let's say if we had been born 100 years ago, I don't think you would be safe because there was no true Jesus church.
那刚好你在这里，
But you happen to be here now.
现在又有教会。
And there is the church now.
如果你在 Colorado，应该没有教会吧？还没有。
If you live in Colorado, there's still no church yet.
因为我从 Philadelphia 要飞到这里，半途那个飞机那个 captain 忽然说：“哎呀，你们往右看，现在是 Colorado。”
Because on our way here from Philadelphia, the captain told us, look to the right side of the plane, and right below you is Colorado. So we all looked to the right.
说科罗拉多美丽的故乡嘛，不是吗？有个歌。
Colorado, the beautiful home.
所以神对我们的选召也是一样。
This is how God's calling is like.
不管以前是怎么样。
No matter how things would have been in the past,
我们都是神所选召的人。
we are all chosen people of God.
就是在这个时候。
And we have been called and chosen at this time.
我们来唱诗101首。
Let us sing hymn